because it's exporting video. 2 minutes left and then I can. I think that's everything, minus this stuff. I'm gonna start the car since it's been sitting here for a few days. It's probably a good idea to start it. I was reading forums on the internet talking about hybrids and like if you should start them or let them like run when it's cold. And a lot of people said no. That just feels wrong to me. So I'm gonna start it because mostly, I guess it's mostly out of habit, but I also think that you probably should. It can't hurt. Okay, turning the fan on high, turning the seat warmers on, making the heat as hot as it'll go. I think the engine turned on, so now it's like actually heating up. Okay, it's at whatever below cold is. She has to go to the bathroom, and I wanted a Starbucks, so we found the closest compromise. I'm waiting for Savannah to go to the bathroom before we get Starbucks. Bathroom's right there. Drive's going pretty good. We're gonna go to a remember that store that we went to that I ended up getting 2 pairs of shoes from? Well, that's in Knoxville, and it's on our way back. So we're gonna go there first, because Savannah needs a new jacket and I need some like running leggings because it's been ridiculously cold. And honestly, that kind of breaks the drive up a little bit. It's a 4.5 hour drive, and with that, it's kind of in the middle of it, not really, but it breaks it up. This place is called Food City. It's like a grocery store. I've never been to a Food City. What is this? Oh, that's cool. A little espresso cup.
Holly hanging across the door, neighbors singing tells of joy. It's so close, hardly can wait, waking up on Christmas.
If you want to attract a lot of attention, bring a camera set up like this into a grocery store in the South. You'll be everybody's favorite person.
Children dreaming without a care.
So this is it's a Dick's Sporting Goods outlet that it says it literally on the sign. Anyway, super cheap stuff.
It's the season most everywhere, so come home. There's no better place. Waking up on Christmas
She might have found something. It's not the exact coat that she was looking for, but it's like 70% off, so.
tinsel wrapped around.
Alright, now I gotta look for running stuff for myself. Don't know if I'm gonna find what I need, because it seems kind of bare. So I didn't find the running stuff that I do need, but I did find, or Savannah found, another pair of my running shoes for like half off, so I'll take this. Oh, 2 pairs. Well, I think I found 3 pairs of shoes. I don't know where Savannah is. I think she just found the coat, and that was it, which is totally fine. I mean, we're gonna save a lot of money, I think. Did you find everything you need?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Okay, we ended up getting 3 pairs of shoes. She got a crap ton of clothes while I was in line. That line took forever. Now I think we're getting lunch. I think, right? We're getting lunch?
Mm-hmm.
Getting lunch. All right, the options were Panera or Blaze Pizza. I wanted pizza, so they're open, right? All right, they're actually closed due to okay. I guess Panera did it. Panera it is. So we ended up finding another Blaze Pizza that was like 2 miles down the road. Actually, we've stayed at a hotel around here, so we just decided to do that. It's also snowing now, and it's supposed to snow in Nashville, so not really sure what to expect when we get in town. Hopefully it'll be fine. It should be fine. So I got a couple comments on the last drum short that I posted talking about how they liked the reverb on my snare drum, and they asked like about it and what I was using. And honestly, I'm not using anything fancy. I'm literally just using Verb Suite Classics from Slate. Like, it's one of the plugins that comes with their All Access bundle, and that's literally it. I found a couple of presets and I tweaked them, and that's it. For me, I like reverbs to not be super like high-endy. I like them to kind of sit below whatever I'm putting reverb on. And to do that, literally all I do is I just put an auto filter on and just knock some of the high end off just a little bit, just so that it, again, ducks underneath the drum that I'm putting reverb on or whatever. One of the issues with reverb is if you don't knock off that high end a little bit, then you'll have issues with reverb kind of getting in the way of the rest of the kit and honestly the instrument that you're putting reverb on. But yeah, that's literally it. Like, I have like the Valhalla Vintage Verb, which is a great reverb and super affordable. But I've found myself using Verb Suite Classics a lot more just because there's a little more diversity and you can just do a little bit more with it as opposed to the Vintage Verb. I love both of them and I use both of them, but recently all of my videos have been with Verb Suite Classics from Slate. And if you're looking for something to be super cost effective, get the Slate All Access Pass. I have it. It's $10 a month and it's well worth it. Like, I can't think of a subscription that I take more advantage of than that. So, you almost done? I always finish before she does, so a lot of times I just find myself sitting here, which is, I'm not complaining, it's fine. I think she's driving next. You okay to drive now? Yep. I want to get some editing done, and
yeah.
And I drove the first little bit. If you need me to take over, I will. I think we're stopping to get gas, and what is this guy doing?
What are you doing?
Gas. It's the second gas station in like 2 weeks. No receipt. Okay, we just got home, and apparently Max, our newest cat, figured out how to open doors. Half the doors up here were just open, and we for sure shut them all because our offices are up here. And I don't know how that's possible, but he did it. So As we were driving, I was thinking more about my thought process when it comes to like snare tuning for adding like reverb after the fact. And I thought about how I tune the drums for reverb, and some things that I've found that have worked in the past and some things that haven't worked whatsoever and have ultimately led me to the system or the way that I record drums now. And the tuning, honestly, you wouldn't think it plays a big part, but it really does. So, for example, I think there's this trend that's been popular for a while, just like deadening and like getting the lowest, fattest snare possible, which sounds great to your ear, but a lot of times microphones have trouble picking it up. And especially like in a mix, a lot of times it gets lost really, really easily because there's no top end to help it cut through. There's only just low end, which can get lost in a mix and become muddy, and even worse, make the mix muddy. And it's the same thing with reverb. There's a reason you don't really put reverb on kick drums, and it's because that low frequency reverberated is just ultimately gonna sound like a rumble, like it's gonna sound muddy and not super articulate. And same thing with the snare drum. If I have my snare drum tuned way, way low, then it's gonna sound muddy and it's not gonna be articulate and it's gonna get lost in the mix really easily. And if somebody's mixing your drums and they have to deal with that, they're probably just gonna go for a sample, I mean, just to be honest. So one thing that I've done that I think has made my drums sound better and has made the reverb just stand out and honestly made the drums sound fatter and bigger is tuning my drums up. I don't tune them super, super high, and I don't tune them super, super low. It's more of like a mid-range, like probably a high mid most of the time kind of tuning. And the reasoning for that is I want the drum to be able to cut through the mix, but also the reverb is going to it's gonna sound a lot better and it's gonna sound a lot fuller and it's not gonna sound as muddy. If your first instinct for recording drums is to tune everything low, you'll quickly realize when you're listening back that everything kind of gets lost and gets smashed together and it just sounds like this hodgepodge of mud. And that's because there's not enough high end or top end on the drums to help each drum stand out. And I only figured that out after just recording and listening back for years and years and years. And eventually I started tuning my drums higher and I realized like suddenly like everything just sounded more clear and I wasn't having to EQ things as heavily and I could actually use more reverb. It sounded clearer and it sounded bigger because I was able to incorporate more reverb if I wanted to. And it ultimately just gave me more flexibility with my drums and made them sound more professional. So that's pretty much it. If you want your reverbs to sound good or if you want to get something similar to mine, I really pitch my drums up quite a bit, and the reason for that is so that the reverbs are nice and clear and it doesn't sound like a muddy mess. But like always, this is an art, and just because I do something doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. You have to figure out what works best for you. These are just my experiences and my tips for my playing, so take that with a grain of salt. To give you a little context, I figured I would play a little bit just using this onboard microphone. It's not going to go through these microphones or that system whatsoever. It's literally just whatever's on this camera right now. Okay, so I have the snare with the snares off, and this is what it sounds like with the snares off. And this is what it sounds like with the snares on. Snares off, snares on. Now, that's not the highest or the craziest, it's not pitched up like super, super high, but it's high enough, again, just to produce a medium sounding tone so that the reverb, again, will be medium sounding instead of super low. Now, you can like get low sounding like reverbs from this like kind of tuning just based on EQs and other things, but I'm just talking about just a generic going straight from the snare drum directly to a reverb kind of a context. Listening back to that, I need to replace my snare drum head. It's been too long. I've been out of town and I haven't had a chance to go down to the local shop and get one. But I do need to change it because it kind of sounded dead and it just didn't sound. I need to change it.